Hey everybody, Dustin DePirek here, columnist Ryan Karchi, Zach Osterman, 24/7 Sports, Inside Indiana, the whole bit. And this is the last one. This is it. Indiana really went down swinging. 102-90, they lost to Kentucky. And, it's a 12-point loss or whatever, but I'd say top to bottom, it's one of the best games I saw this year. And I don't think there were too many other teams in the country that beat Indiana tonight. I mean, they more or less got... defensively, they weren't great, but they were obviously dealing with one of the best offensive teams in the country and got really almost everything that they wanted out of this game, almost everything. But at the end of the day, just too much Kentucky, too much big shots, too many free throws. They put them to the line a bunch. Tom Crean wasn't too thrilled with the free throw discrepancy, but I think at least some of that, they had to foul them. They put on the line 16 times in the last 3 minutes, and they made all of them. Every single one.
33 of 35 for the game.
35 of 37.
Oh, sorry, 35 of 37.
Yeah, 16 straight in the last, 3.5 minutes. So, but yeah, I mean, if they were going to go down, I guess this was a heck of a way for it to happen.
I was just going to say that I think Matt Ross and somebody else both said this in the locker room that they played the game they wanted to. And I think you alluded to this a little bit, that they wanted to run, they wanted to, and they weren't pleased with the defense, but they wanted the game to go this way. They wanted to get out and run and play loose and wide open and fast. They just couldn't get they couldn't get kind of the right sequence of stops and scores. 5 of 18 from the 3-point line, which was obviously, if they shoot their season average, they're probably make 3 or 4 more of those.
Yeah, that changes it up a little bit.
That's a different kind of game. It's just kind of one of those things where I think by and large they kind of got the game they wanted. They just couldn't get the shots to fall the way they.
And in the end, Kentucky. We're still talking about the most athletic, talented team in the country. We're
talking about right now probably the prohibitive favorite.
At this point, especially the way everybody else is playing,
can't see anyone else winning.
Yeah, every other 1 seed has either gone down or come really, really close to going down. I think Syracuse just barely survived. Carolina just barely survived Ohio U today. Obviously Michigan State went down last night. So this definitely looks like the best team in the country. And like I said, I think Indiana probably beats just about anybody else the way they played tonight. I think you go in this game thinking a few things. Christian Watford had to have a big game. He goes off for 27. He was pretty dominant.
He had 15 points, I think, in the last 6 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, he just went off and there were tough points to come by too. He was driving the lane for a bunch. He had 3 threes, but more so he was just getting in there, making the right cuts, just getting to the bucket the way he wanted to. You knew Jordan Hulls had to have a heck of a game. 12 points, 9 assists, no turnovers. Court vision at a certain point for him was just off the charts. He was just finding every cutter and just getting everybody the ball exactly where they wanted it. I think as a true point guard floor game, this is the best I've seen him. He shot it better, but in terms of handling the ball, running the offense, getting the ball to people where they wanted it, he was, and he's been good a lot, but tonight he was phenomenal. Victor Oladipo, you think, okay, when you're going against Anthony Davis, that kind of shot blocker, how is he going to be in terms of finishing? He was phenomenal with that. He was just absolutely attacking, getting to the rim.
15 points, just 1 turnover.
When he came out with his 4th foul, Tom Crean was screaming at him.
Yeah.
And what he was screaming was, "They can't guard you."
Yeah.
That was what he was saying, and I think his frustration there was that Oladipo had put himself in a position to have to sit down with 4 fouls, and his point was that nobody could, and nobody did tonight, really, offensively or defensively for Kentucky, stay in front of him.
No, that was one of the big turning points in this one when Oladipo picks up his 4th, because he got 2. And 1 was pretty dumb, really quick within a couple of minutes, and that changes everything. He had 2 early, but he came back in, he was playing really well, and you're exactly right. He was doing off the dribble what some of the Kentucky guys were doing. Indiana had a tough time guarding the dribble, but Oladipo gave Indiana an answer, somebody that they just couldn't keep in front of him. He was just attacking on the glass, and usually when he's dealing with a shot blocker, he gets a little bit hesitant around the rim. Not at all tonight. Just took it all the way to the glass and was just and finishing and making buckets. All of those guys are kind of your X factors. Again, Cody Zeller was as good as usual, 20 and 7. They had 5 guys in double figures, so all of those things work. But at the end of the day, it just was hard for them to get a stop. They went into zone a couple times. Darius Miller hit 2 big threes to hit him out of it, and that was really when they got the momentum for good. When Miller, I thought, hit those shots, it was really kind of when from that point on they were.
Kentucky answered everything.
And this came after Anthony Davis got 2 fouls right away. That's what he hasn't done all season long since Indiana.
But he didn't commit another foul.
He did it, but he didn't commit another foul. And this is it shows you how good this Kentucky team is in the sense that Anthony Davis, like Zach told me a few minutes ago, Anthony Davis was the only starter not in double digits.
Yeah.
And
in scoring.
In scoring.
And he had 12 rebounds.
He had 12 rebounds. I mean,
but he had a quiet impact.
I don't think so. I disagree. I disagree. He had 12 rebounds. He had 3 blocks. He altered a bunch. I mean, I think he was one of the ones.
One of those blocks was a goaltend.
Yes.
The first of those blocks. So okay, but
yes.
then you're saying he has 2 blocks.
But he altered a lot.
I disagree. When
We're talking
about the way Zeller scored, when we talk about the way that Oladipo scored, I don't think he affected this game. I think the people that affected this game were Kid Gilchrist, who attacked out of his mind and got everything he wanted.
Yes, he did.
And Darius Miller, who played an excellent game off the bench.
I didn't think
outstanding.
Miller was stellar tonight. He was as good as I've ever seen. I don't get me wrong. I think Davis played a good game, but I don't think he was one of the primary factors in Kentucky's win tonight.
I think he still was.
I agree.
I think he still was. His arms were all over the place.
I think
he grabbed some big rebounds. He grabbed some big rebounds.
But his defense against Cody Zeller wasn't that great.
No, it wasn't.
I mean,
no.
Second half.
Davis never, like, I don't want to say never, but I mean, I didn't look at Davis as he's going to dominate Zeller. I mean, like, Zeller was the guy I didn't think he could take away. It was everybody else. Now, he didn't. I mean, I didn't think he did. But I thought he altered just enough. He altered just enough to make a difference. I just think he got big rebounds.
I agree.
His length in there makes a difference.
I don't think he is even in the top 3 of players that if you remove them from Kentucky's performance tonight, they still probably win. And I'm not talking about points or rebounds. I'm talking about just overall impact. I mean, Kid Gilchrist still
Kid Gilchrist was the game for Kentucky.
Yeah, 24 and 10, 10 of 10 from the free throw line. Deron Lamb had some really big buckets and some really big spells actually handling the ball when Marcus Teague was struggling a little bit. And then for me, I mean, Darius Miller, 6 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 2 from behind the arc, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Off the bench, I mean, you don't. No, you know, I mean, Tom Green said he's a first-round pick.
He is.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I've watched the kid for 4 years play on a bunch of teams that just kind of drowned him out in a lot of ways, but tonight he was the X factor. I think that if
they couldn't guard it. I mean, the issue is,
and like you don't say that about Darius Miller.
But it's not. But the biggest thing is when it came down to it, they had to put when they wanted to have Roth or Halls on the floor, when they wanted a 3-point shooter on the floor. They had to use one of those 2 guys on him, and they're giving up
Darius Miller
6-7
against
inches.
Matt Roth. You're going to win that bet, lose that battle.
Well,
that's what you got to do. I mean, I thought
strayed from the original argument, which was that there were at least 2, possibly 3 more important players tonight for Kentucky than Anthony Davis.
They had a lot of important players. However, I don't know who was the most important, but Anthony Davis made a difference. I thought.
Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
But the thing, at the end of the day, well, he kind of. I mean, he's like 7'4" of arms, and he's got
arms.
Yeah. And he's got the biggest unibrow I've ever seen. But beyond all that, but basically, so let's take it forward from that. I mean, obviously, we've made it clear Kentucky's got a lot of talent. I think everybody already knew that. But how much does this team mean to this program, I guess? I mean, how sort of just amazing was what we saw this year?
I mean, I think this is a team that this program will never forget. I mean, in the sense that they came from so little to, and it was almost poetic that they lost to the team that had so much. I mean, it was in that way, I mean, I think, and they said they were disappointed that it had to end this way and that they felt like they had more in the tank and all that. And I think there's no way you can ever come away from this ashamed of this season. This team, I mean, this team just fought through everything. They fought through 3 years of pretty bad basketball and came this year, shocked the world on several occasions, more than any other team in the country, surprised everyone.
Yeah.
And I think, you can say however much that has to do with Cody Zeller.
It has to do with everybody.
It has to do with everyone.
Everybody.
This team was
everyone got better.
And then it added Zeller.
No.
90 miles an hour, right?
Yeah. No, I think we said at the beginning, I mean, I think Zach and I had this conversation a few times. They had to be prepared for him. Basically, like, everyone had to be sort of prepared for him to be the last piece. I mean, and he couldn't just... I mean, did he make everybody? Sure, everybody better? Sure he did. But they were already better. They had already kind of just determined over this offseason that they were going to get there, that they were sick of losing, that they weren't going to do it anymore, and everybody got better. Oladipo, Sheehy, Halls, Verdell, Watford. Everybody made a quantum leap. I think, more or less, and it just what like they needed to get to the point where Zeller could be the last piece. As big of a piece as he was, everything else had to come together before that for him to be able to fit in the way that he did.
As sickeningly cliche as it is.
Oh boy, where are you going with this?
I think that the one legacy this team needs to leave its program is that sort of value of that valuing of hard work that Dustin talked about in this particular offseason. Because I think that, and maybe I'm straying a little bit from my comfort zone as someone who's only really watched Indiana basketball since 2005, but I don't know that the program has ever has in recent seasons consistently been able to behave behind the scenes like an elite program. I mean, obviously it couldn't the last 3 or 4 years because of the talent disparity and because of the rebuilding project, but I mean, I think people see Kentucky, they see North Carolina, they see Kansas, and they just think, oh, they just get elite recruits and they plug them in and they're fine. No, you have to work very hard to sustain a certain level of success, to be a 25, 27 win team every single year. You have to work very hard. You have to buy into every single thing that your coaching staff is selling, and you have to be willing to struggle some. And I think that this team kind of figured that out, and it was different. Like Dustin said, I think it was more of just kind of a foot down moment where they just said, we're tired of this. But, you know, I think that's the key for Indiana going forward, because they're going to get recruits.
Yeah,
I mean,
they've already got them.
Yeah, they've got them, and there's more coming, in 2013 and 14, and who knows what we're going to see this summer. You know, and I think that we've seen, you know, that Tom Crean can really do a job.
Yes, absolutely. With
this team. But, you know, overall, I think that, again, I know it's terribly cliche, but I mean, I think that's very important. That the kids need to understand that that coming to Indiana isn't enough.
Yeah.
You know, that there needs to be something on top of that. And I think that that's one thing that this senior class talked a lot about, and others who weren't seniors on this team talked about them kind of instilling, was that kind of attitude. And if that is the legacy they leave for this program, more so than 27 wins, 3 top 5 wins in the regular season for the first time in program history, a Sweet 16 appearance, any of it, I think that is incredibly important, because I think that is something that had been lost in Indiana for a while before Tom Crean even set foot in Bloomington. So, again, I know it's awfully cliche, but I think that that's very important if that's a mentality that you carry.
So with Yogi Ferrell, Ron Patterson, Jeremy Hollowell, Hunter Perea, Peter Jerkin coming next year, is this team a top 5 team?
I think in the preseason
that is a large chemistry experiment.
It is a large chemistry experiment.
And it's not a reflection on the kids. It's just you're going to bring 5 new bodies into your program, and you're losing 5 very important ones. Very, very important voices. I mean, that's...
Yes, and we got to cut this off, but that gives all of these guys credibility. You know, for all the movement talk or whatever, I think it is very clear that the guys that are coming in now know that they have people they have to listen to. That they have people who have been there.
They know
and
what to do.
They're one of the toughest, hardest working teams that I've ever seen or heard of, and that's their mentors going forward. But we got to cut this off. But thank you, everybody.
Great season, everyone.
Fun season. Thanks so much. It was something else.
Heck of a ride.
Something else. Thanks, guys.